What's up and welcome back to Cleats to Whistle podcast. I am Brad Valdez.
I am Kevin Watson.
And we are here at Ballard High School. Oh man, we have Matt Kuehn here, the new head coach here at Ballard High School. He was a former head coach at Bullitt Central.
Correct.
And what was your role with the staff last year?
Defense coordinator last year.
Oh, okay.
So came over, did the 22 season, 23 season, 22, defensive side of the ball. Then when Coach Morton went over to the offensive side in 23, I took over the defense.
Oh, okay.
I was glad to see him come over here.
Okay.
He was a thorn in my side for 3 or 4 years.
Well, yeah,
we had some good battles. We finally got you.
I was telling him on the way over here, that's the only 2 district games we lost the whole time I was there was to you.
Well, I was at
Glad
Doss.
to be part of it.
And 2 in 1 year. I mean, that was, and they were convinced that they weren't 15 to 14 games. They were pretty. He owed us one, and he gave it to us that year.
Well, I was at Doss, so you guys beat us up pretty bad. I think the 3 years I was there. So
He had some teams.
Yeah,
he had some hard no.
That quarterback. Oh my goodness, he was a stud, man. He could do anything. And then you had the 2 running backs.
Yeah, we've down there, we had a lot of kids that just really just sound power football players that they would do anything they asked of them, and fortunate we were pretty successful in our time there, and I guess did what we could do, and I feel like we reached our ceiling there. I really do, and hopefully what I would like to be able to bring over here in this role is some of that hard-nosedness, if you will, that we were able to establish over there.
Yeah, and we were talking off camera. Those Bullitt County kids are different, man. If you could bottle that up and bring it here, y'all would kill people.
They were mean, man. They were mean. Yeah. It was frustrating. Yeah. Okay. Since the PGA is in town, man. I just have one question, man. Do you golf?
I do. Not nearly as much as I once did. I got a 3-year-old, got a 6-month-old. 9-year-old, 14-year-old, 20-year-old. So my golfing time has dwindled a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to say, you don't even have time to breathe.
I do love to golf. I watch it, of course. It's incredibly difficult.
It's the only sport where the ball does not move, and it's the hardest one.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And but man, if I could get out there more, I would. I mean, my clubs are 99 Tommy Armours. No need to get new clubs because I don't play enough, man.
Exactly.
Like, that would just make me a little bit more irritated that I had really good clubs and I sucked at golf.
You could spend $500 on the driver and still not hit it.
Still not hit it straight.
That's right.
You can hit it.
So who's your favorite golfer?
Man, so I'm a Texas guy. So, okay. Even though he's top, I like Scheffler. I like the way Scheffler carries himself.
Yeah.
He just kind of goes about his business, and it's obviously it's important to him, but he sees just the different side of life. I like Jordan. I like how Spieth is so animated and honest while he plays. So Scheffler would be my top guy. But man, honestly I enjoy the game. Like, I enjoy watching Xander. I think Xander's one of these days he's going to eventually, get over the top. I like watching Rory play. I love
Rory, man. He just
and
everybody, you either love Rory or you hate him.
Yeah,
and he bombs it too, man.
Yeah, and even though you got the live PGA stuff, but like I love John Rahm. Like I love watching him play. It sucks that I don't get to watch him as much now, but I enjoy watching golf. I wish I got to play more. But it is, one of those professions that, man, you respect the consistency and the mental toughness it takes to do all 4 rounds. And, to think that, it's like they rarely ever hit a bad shot. And they put it in the right
they also
spot.
hit 5,000 balls a day.
Oh, I know, but it's just everything.
For free. If we hit 5,000 balls, it'd cost you a fortune.
Yeah, it would. It would. But, so I'm not
Guess who's got more time to play golf now?
Probably you.
And he don't play.
Well, this summer is going to be a different story.
I should have invited you that day.
This guy posts pictures of him playing golf, and I was like,
yeah, that's always awkward.
Really?
Yeah, it's an awkward situation sometimes.
Okay, so we're gonna get icebreaker questions real quick, man.
Okay.
Favorite road trip snack?
Man, probably. I like the Kroger brand, like snack mix. The one that just has your old school peanuts, raisins, M&Ms. I mean, that's when we make our trips. That's what I got right there in the console, and I'm just
I can't remember if it's Costco or Sam's has a trail mix, and it's like 3 different kinds of chocolate and nuts. It is phenomenal. You need to look at that. I don't remember if it's Costco or Sam's. Doesn't have the raisins, which I like, but I can literally sit there while I'm watching TV and you look down and half the thing's gone.
But the raisins are there kind of to balance it out. Sometimes
make it
slow you
healthy.
down.
Makes it healthy.
Slow you down a little bit.
Yeah.
And
Favorite childhood movie growing up?
Oh, childhood movie. I like Forrest Gump. Used to do a killer Forrest Gump impersonation. Not so much anymore. But like Forrest Gump. And even though it's not a childhood movie, but growing up, Shawshank. That was my jam. I had a lot of older siblings, so I was exposed to a lot of things that, as a child, you probably, I got 9 brothers and sisters, and so, I guess I was more advanced in the movie watching as a younger kid.
He was watching Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
Mine was always Goonies. I love Goonies.
classic.
To this day, I still love Goonies,
Yeah.
man. It's a great movie.
Yeah, Point Break when that's on. I gotta watch
Johnny
it every
Utah.
time. Johnny
Point
Utah,
Break,
man. Yeah, Ohio State quarterback.
Yep.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. Any superstitions, player or coach?
So when I played, my oldest sister, so we all went to the same high school. So there was a kid in my family at the high school we attended. It's down in Houston, Klein High School, Klein Bearcats. But there was a kid from our family at that high school from 1982 to 2006. So there's about 25-year span where Kuehn was at Klein High School, and my oldest sister was the mascot on the cheerleading team, and she had a little, for her it's probably a little bit bigger, but it was a little cutoff shirt. It said Cats in cursive, and it said 85. That was her graduating year, and so I wore that underneath my shoulder pads.
That's cool.
Every game. And there was a time my junior year when our head coach, he got really upset at everybody. And he was like, from now on, you're wearing the gray shimmel, blah, blah. So I wore my shirt, then the gray shimmel, and then the shoulder pads. I couldn't bend from that. So that'd be my one superstition plan. Coaching, man, I wish I had time for superstition. It's like, man, trying to get everything done. That's my superstition, just get everything done in time for the game. But, of course, you got your processes that you do. But, yeah, just. So
you I can't remember playing against you guys. Are you a big play sheet guy?
No.
I didn't think you even carried one, did you?
No. So, majority of my life, I've coached on the defensive side. Yeah. Towards the end at Bullitt Central, I moved over to the offensive side. And I had a sheet that had what the quarterbacks had on their wristband, right, so I could signal it. But no, but I'm an analytic guy. I'll break down film, I'll look at the analytics, but I think sometimes, it's probably not the best thing not to have anything, but I think a lot is just on feel.
Yeah.
Because, you can have the analytics, but how a game's going, there's no analytics for a feel of the game or, right, certain momentum of a game and what might be the right call there.
I remember playing against them. I had this big play sheet, and they just beat the crap, and I took it and threw it. I was like, what do I need this for? It's not working, so why do you need it? And then you see the guys with the big thing they hold up in front of their face, and if you've got that many plays, you're probably not doing anything great.
Well, back in my younger days of coaching, we would have like, all right, they're going to line up in this offensive set. We're going to hold up this color folder, and then we're going to line. And then you got there was one game we got literally 3 plays in. We were playing a team, in Houston area. Dana Holgerson's brother was the OC, and they were running gun. And so they got to the 3rd play, and we didn't even have time to hold the folder before. And they were like, screw it.
Because time you look down and look back up, they're running.
Yeah, so you realize, it's good in theory, but sometimes, man, you're wasting a lot of time that could be devoted somewhere else to try to do all the, the fancy and the tricky.
I used them a lot in practice, but during the games, I just had it just in case I needed to reference something. But looking up and looking down, seeing who's on the field, seeing what person. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. So with you being from Texas, man, man, you got any great stories, man, from around that area? You have any mentors that brought you up?
Yeah, I mean, so my defense coordinator growing up when I was in high school, Mike Kinnicky, he was, I guess, I like to think that if you pick 5 people, you try to, grasp and extract those 5 characteristics that you love about those people, and you create yourself. I mean, that's going to be a pretty good person if you can do that. And he's one of those 5 for me. Like I said, he was my defensive coordinator in high school, and the thing I loved about him, and the thing I try to do is, and he was a hell of a chemistry teacher too. Like, he was a great teacher. And so I teach Algebra 1. I've taught math for 20 years, and so I try to get my athletes to understand, like, man, when I teach, I'm teaching, and then I'll coach. And he did a great job of that. We stayed in touch, of course, after school. My degree is not in education. I worked in broadcast journalism right out of college. Worked for the Tennessee Titans radio network for a few years, and then I got certified in Texas and got into coaching. And when I moved back, he was like, anything that you need from me, be more than happy to do. And unfortunately, he got diagnosed stage 4 colon cancer, and he passed away May 2nd of 2006. So he passed away. It's been 18 years now. But, he's one of those guys that kind of molded me in the coaching side. And then one of my mentors from when I was coaching in Texas, his name is Randy Dennis. He's the legend. When you think of an old school coach, he's an old school coach. He talks like this, and he's old
Cowboy
school.
hat?
Oh, no. But, he's defensive guy, and I learned a lot of my defensive stuff from him. He coached at, some schools but he coached at Odessa Permian back in the late 90s. He's the kind of, he's got like 4 or 5 state championships down in Texas, and just a wealth of knowledge. And so from the coaching standpoint, he one of my mentors. And of course, just naturally, as far as being a human being, and my parents, like I said, that I'm one of 10. And so, watching them sacrifice growing up, obviously molded me into, I like to think I am a very selfless person, and, always willing to do whatever for anybody. That's, one of those attributes that we didn't have a lot of money because there's 10 of us, and, that's just one of those things, that's on them for doing that. But, what they gave us as kids, they gave us love, they gave us belief, and, man, it was awesome. And, I love them for that.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. That's awesome. And having that coach pass away in 2006 and still have that, that grasp on you, you know what I mean? That's that's telling you something.
Well, in Texas football, it's just totally different.
Yeah. I mean, they do a great job of investing. They invest in the facilities, they invest in the athletics. And I think that when the kids see the investment, they're going to take more pride in it.
Look out here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, no doubt. I mean, we got a great facility. Yeah. That's one of the things I would love to be able to bring a field house right outside. Like, it bothers me that at halftime, neither team can go anywhere inside. Like, that bothers me. And so, I think we got a ways to go, but I think there's a lot of areas of the state that are moving in the right direction. When it comes to
you go 15-0 this year, you'll have a field house.
Yeah, hopefully.
So you have a big family, man. So you guys got to be competitive with each other. Okay, and this was a question that we asked in the last podcast. You know what I mean? What was some of that, like
what was the spread on? Are you the baby?
No, I'm 7th born, so I'm 7th to 10.
So what was the spread like?
The oldest, it's basically one every 2 years. That's the math of it all. The oldest is, I think, 56. Youngest is 36.
So 20 years.
Yeah. And so I'm 43, and so I'm kind of, towards that.
Yeah.
Back
so did y'all have like family game night? Or?
Yeah. Just any day you just roll out to the, and usually.
You had a 5-on-5 basketball team, right?
Yeah. Well, it was usually, me and my brothers, and the games would end when, we would just end with a fight,
It was blood on the street. It's time to go in.
It was brother fight.
Yeah.
It's all good. So it was one of those things that we spent, every day during the summer outside playing whatever. And, it's one of those things you look back and, you miss those childhood moments. Of course, I'm here now. The rest of my family's down in Texas. And so, you miss that innocence of being a kid. And, so like in our off season, I try to implement as many like random games and competitions as possible, because that's one thing I don't think we do enough with the kids. Like everything's like, it's got to be serious, got to be serious. There's times to be serious and there's times just to have fun, and to let them know that, man, like we can have fun, we can compete, we can still get what we need to get done without it being so much immersed on football.
Yeah, we used to have like kickball games and let the big boy 7-on-7's always fun.
The big boy 7.
Yeah, let the big lineman go out there and try to catch and throw. It's always.
Yeah, and any hobbies outside? I know you have 5 kids?
Yeah, I got 5 kids, got a beautiful wife. My hobbies right now are going home and golf carting my kids around. And we go around the neighborhood, wave, and it's like we're in a parade.
Did you move here when you left Bullitt Central?
I was already over here.
You were already here.
Yeah,
okay.
I moved in this area. I actually live like right across the street.
Okay.
In April of 2021. Okay. And then
this is a great natural fit for you.
Yeah. Well, there's a saying, sometimes good things fall apart, so better things can fall together.
Oh, isn't that the truth?
And man, it like blessing on so many levels. Blessing.
Yeah, I know. I remember when he left, I was like, dude, what are you doing? And he was like, it's going to work out, man. Yeah, and then what? How long did it take? 3 weeks?
Well, yeah, to get a math job here, it didn't take me very long. Right. And then Adrian, Coach Morton reached out to me, and we talked. And
he was like, guess what? Guess where I'm at? I was like, where? Ballard. I was like, whoa, let's go. Yeah.
And, Adrian was phenomenal for us. So
Adrian's good.
It was easy transition. Yeah. And like I said, it's funny how things work out just in everything in life. But yeah, had a very surprising ending to my last run. Again, you just got to keep kind of going. And, I guess my thing was I've always felt still to this day that like we did everything right with what we did. And so, I don't know. I'm not, I guess, just not going to.
Don't look back. Look forward.
Yeah, fall forward.
Yes,
exactly.
Always.
Fall forward.
Always.
Yeah. So getting back to this guy took me off. You don't have no hobbies then. You just
I work in the yard.
Just golf cart around.
Yeah, I work in the yard.
Cut the grass.
Yeah, no.
That's not a hobby. That's a job. That's worse than coaching.
No, I don't know. I'm just enjoying, like me and the wife, we hang out and we just hang out. And, again, our kids are, there's so many, different ages and so many different areas of life. And we're extremely blended family. Like, we're kind of the Brady Bunch in this modern day. Like our 20-year-old, we fostered and adopted her. So, she's brought into our family. My 14-year-old's from my first marriage, 9-year-old's from her first marriage. And we got the 3 and the 6-month-old together. And so there's a lot of dynamics, and it's interesting, it's fun, it keeps you on your toes. But man, yeah, I just go home and man, I get to hang out with my kids, my wife, and we just hang out. And I don't, and it's probably good. She doesn't know. There's sometimes she doesn't know if we win or lose the game, like legit. Like we've gone out with friends before after a game, and someone said, "Hey, congratulations," and she looked like, "Why would you say that?" And they're like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "They lost." I was like, "No, babe, we won." We won the game.
My wife always knew.
Like, we won the game. And so, and that's good because, like, I honestly, man, I don't really prefer to talk about it at the house. I just want to be, when I am and at the house and just relax. And
it can consume you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. And so it's a nice respite and a little break.
Yeah. Well, but, like, dealing with the pressure, man, you say you don't really like to take, that home. You know what I mean? So how who do you have to – like talk, you know what I mean? Because you're going to come in here, you're going to have pressure on you. You know what I mean? You took over for Adrian. How would you deal with that then?
I think there's I think I've talked to Coach Morton about this. If this had all happened 15 years ago, it'd be different than it has happened now, right? So like with age, not that thing, I don't want to come off as some things aren't important, but, your eyes are open and you understand just the bigger picture of everything that you're trying to do. And I've always been of, even when we took over at Bullitt Central, like we're going to win and lose games because of the way that we develop the character of our kids. And so, like, my pressure is, how do I get these kids to understand that academically they need to perform better? How do I get them to perform better? And then how do I get them to be the character kids that I know they can be? And so on the field, like, I'm pretty comfortable in what we do on the field and the coaching staff, and like, I know we'll be game ready. It's getting my job and the pressure of me is, am I able to get the kids to be at their pinnacle in every aspect of what it is? And so that's where the pressure comes in for me. Like, am I doing right by this kid in every single way? I mean, football aside, like, football's football. So I guess that's where my pressure is. Like, I know the way that my system is as far as when I go home on the weekend and the way I break down film and the way that I look at the data. Like, I'm really comfortable with all that. And like, I'm comfortable that we're going to, everything's going to be in the right spot. I just need to make sure that we're giving our kids the best experience possible.
So what's the main, for all these young guys that maybe want to be a head coach, what's the main difference between being a coordinator and being at Bullitt Central, which is a 5A school, and then coming to the 6A school where the expectations are higher? Let's be honest. It's Ballard.
Oh, yeah.
The expectations are higher. Bullitt Central, there was an expectation. Ballard's expectations a little higher. What is the difference, other than the obvious? What's the difference between being a coordinator and being a head coach at a big time program?
Yeah, I mean, the thing going back, like, the thing with Bullitt Central, they had won 2 playoff games in the history. So really, anything you did, I mean, no knock, but it was like an improvement.
Right.
And so, we were fortunate to win 7 in our 6 years. And so here, right, I mean, the standard's been, we were state semis the last 2 years.
Right.
And, knocking on the door to the state finals both times and just not able to finish. And so, I mean, the biggest difference between coordinator and head coach, and, I've talked to Adrian a lot about this. Last year, I talked to him all the time. Being a head coach and going from a head coach to a coordinator, man, I really like being able to coach football again. As a head coach, and there's a lot going on, and you better find a group of guys that you can surround yourselves with, that you can teach and you trust and can run the stuff, because you're going to be pulled every single direction possible. And you're going to be doing everything but football. And, like, that's just the reality of it. And so to surround yourself with as many good people that, understand the game, coach the game, love the kids, is, to me, the most important thing. Because, like I said, like, right now, man, I got a laundry list of everything I need to do, and none of it deals with any X's and O's on football or anything like that.
Well, and let's be honest, Fridays are easy for head coach.
Oh, yeah, I mean, they're
Monday through or Saturday through Thursday suck as a head coach, because it's pulling in different directions.
It's it's getting the emails.
It's not for everybody.
No, man, it's
I never wanted to be a head coach.
It's consuming. And so, but I mean, you have to have a support staff. So, like, even your coaches, I mean, like I said, I'm fortunate that my wife is so, like, understanding of everything and allows me to do it. Like, there's so many aspects that have to, I think, fall into place. And that was one of the things when this job came open, when Coach Morton, when he was going to resign, like, I mean, I talked to my wife and I was like, hey, I would love to do this, but I also know, like, where we're at in life, right? I mean, we had our last baby November 9th. It was the day before we played Manual in the second round of the playoffs. So, like, man, I DC'd that game on no sleep. And
I mean, you ought to try it more often. You did pretty good.
We survived that game. But, and so it's understanding that you've got to have the right support staff. Yeah. If you try to take on too much, you're going to drown yourself. And the one big piece of advice is that if you lose, man, as long as you do what you do and what you feel is right, man, you're going to win, you're going to lose. Like, not everyone's going to go 15-0. It's no knock on you, as in, like, it's not your intelligence of football if you lose a game. Like, it's fine. You get to play again. So just don't let any of that stuff, don't let the wins get in your head too much. Don't let the losses get in your head too much. Just stay kind of, even kill and go about it. And
I'll testify for him, his character as far as that. I've never felt sorry for beating somebody, but there was a couple times we beat them, and they deserved to win. And those kids, they were tears in their eyes, and I went over and shook everyone's hand, and I was like, oh, my God, I'm going to cry because these kids played their hearts out. They knew what they wanted to do. They knew what they needed to do, and they just a couple things didn't go their way. I thought y'all, what was it, the last time y'all beat us? The last time we beat you all in the second round, it was like, 20-16 or something weird,
Yeah.
24-20, something like that. Mm-hmm. And they probably should have beat us that year. And his game plan and he never gets too excited. He gives the referees a bunch of crap, but who doesn't? But
I'm trying to get better with
and his kids played like that. And I never felt sorry for a team that we beat until we beat them that year because – the two kids you had were just phenomenal. The running back and the quarterback were just Kyler
and Kugel.
Just phenomenal football players. And they that dude went 100 miles an hour every play, special teams, it didn't matter. They would ram their head through the wall if he'd have told them to, and they did. And I was like, I feel bad for beating these dudes because they were really a great bunch of dudes that whew.
And I felt bad for you beating us too. If that
well,
makes
you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying.
And I appreciate that. Yeah,
and we talked after the game. I was like, dude, I think I may even said, man, I'm sorry because you guys deserve to win this game just as much as we did.
Yeah, I have a story.
And they come out the next year and they beat the crap out of us.
I have a story too. Our defensive coordinator at Doss was like, okay, we're gonna put the bear front. We're gonna put a 50 front. We're gonna stop the run. We're gonna do everything. We're gonna smash their faces. You guys ran for 432 yards on us at Doss. I was just like,
sounds about right.
With those two guys, though. I don't know if you remember that game.
Dude, that group was a defensive nightmare because they could do so much.
It was 49-6.
You remember Joe Morris played for the Giants back in the day? That's what he reminded me because he was so low to the ground, and he would get behind the line, and all of a sudden he'd pop out, and he was gone.
Yeah. Frustrating.
Great group of kids.
Frustrating, man. Okay, so let's get back onto you, Coach. The number you wore, did that have a meaning?
It did. I wore 83, so I was probably like the only safety ever to wear 83. My older brother who had played football wore 83, so I was like, well, I'll wear 83. In hindsight, I probably should have just been 8 or 3. That would have looked a lot cooler in the defensive backfield than 83. But yeah, so I wore 83.
So being a Texas guy, who was your favorite team coming up?
Oh, Oilers.
Yeah, Earl
Oilers.
Campbell, one of my favorite players there. I'm a Steelers fan, but Earl Campbell was one of my favorite players ever. So who was your college team? Who was?
I don't really have. I like to see the University of Houston do well, but it was one of those things. I went to Sam Houston State, and at the time we were FCS. Now making the run in Conference USA, but I've never really had an affiliation with any of the colleges down there.
Okay, and you guys, have you guys talked goals for this team yet?
Not really, just because we got done with the season, I got hired, and then January rolled around, and a lot of our kids in track, we haven't been together as a group. We went through spring ball, but of course not everybody together.
Right.
And so I think it's kind of an understood goal of where we want to be. We'll talk about it. I don't necessarily think it's got to be spoken with the kids. They've been hurt, man. They've been hurt the last 2 years. It's been, 2 years ago we lost to Mail, last second snap, and then last year we had a 11-point lead on Bryan Station with about 8 minutes to go, and man, we just couldn't close the deal, and so we've been close, and I think that's. They're hungry. They know what it takes to get there, and it's a long journey. We struggled a lot last year, I think, with just wanting to get to that spot again so bad. And all right, so what are all the steps we have to do to get there? Because we want to fast forward, but it's no, now people want to knock you off, so we've got to be able to handle that. And last year there was a lot of growth that we had to go through. And we progressively grew over the season, and we were not the same team in week 1 or week 2 that we were at the end of the year. The last 2 years have been different as far as where we were at the beginning and where we were at the end. This year, man, we got seniors out the wazoo. We got a lot of returning starters. We got guys that are going to be starting for the third year. The expectation is I mean, our ceiling right now is we should be able to compete. You know, obviously there's so many things that happen within a season. And so, I mean, you never know how anything's going to play out. But, I mean, our goal is be as competitive as we can be in the regular season, make a run in November into December, and hopefully, you know, get over that hurdle.
Well, let's be honest. There's an obvious hump.
Oh, yeah.
That particular game, I'm not going to say it, but that particular game in the season, week 14 or 13, it's actually 15 because there's 16.
Yeah,
but that's the obvious hump. To get over that hump, that's got to be on every player in it because they've been there twice. The seniors have been there; they know.
Yeah, they've been there twice, but you know, and that's where, you know, that's the obvious hump.
You got to rein them in.
But it's also it's dangerous to think like that because, you know, sometimes when you have that success, you forget. Well, man, this broke our way. This broke our way because of, you know, I told you guys off air. PRP, they had us on the ropes round one. So PRP beats us round one, then, you know, it's things are different. And so that's where, you know, there's so many things that can happen that when you look at the end game and like, okay, we made it state semis. Well, we did. But sometimes you're really fortunate. And then sometimes you're like, man, you only made it there because sometimes you're not fortunate. And we were fortunate last year. We really were. But, you know, we were able to parlay those good fortunes into a run. And so, yes, I mean, that's, you know, we want to get there. We want to go over the hump. But I think we have to understand that, like, now when people will see Ballard, like, it's one of those things, you know. I mean, you
got a target on your back.
Oh, yeah, big time. And we've got to be able to handle that. And that's where the growth of this team's got to come along.
Well, that's where having multi seniors is going to help a lot.
Yeah, that's where, you know, last year we were a little bit more junior laden.
Yeah.
This year, you know, they've been the hunted, and we know what that's like. So hopefully we handle that part of it better.
There you go. And spot, like, you know, some of your senior leaders and then some of your young guys.
I mean, we got, you know, it's one of those things, you're talking about the difference between Bullitt Central and here. Today we had 7 Division I schools in here. In my 7 years at Bullitt Central, we had 0. So, you know, in one afternoon, right? Man, we got kids, we got horses, man. We got guys that can go. That starts offensively. I mean, we're returning everybody but our 2 running backs from last year. And so, like Maurice Stevens, wideout, big time recruit, big time special talent.
He's like 6'2".
Yeah, about 6'2". He runs track. You know, I mean, he, you know, just a playmaker, and he does it. He's effortless as he does it. He's very smooth with what he does. But we got him. We got Alpha Seca, who's going to be a senior on the other side. We got a little slot receiver, Dalen Thompson, who can, man, make you look stupid in the open field. And then one of the good things about spring ball with all of them doing track is we really focused in on what we're going to do offensively, more of our 3-back look. And so our backs, I mean, we got L.J. Hocker-Smith, we got Will Elliott, we got Jamari Hayden. I mean, we got, you know, all these, you know, running backs. We got Connor John. We got so many weapons on the edge, and then we have our entire offensive line returning. You know, we got, you know, Logan Russell, Christian Clark. I mean,
that's a good problem to have.
Yeah, you know, name them all. Malik
well,
Kennedy,
and let's be honest. And you can line up. One thing I've noticed about Ballard the last couple of years is one game you'll see them and they'll run the ball 30 times, pass it 10. The next game they can throw it 40 times, run it 10, and be just as successful. I mean, you got a lot of options. It's going to be tough as a defensive coordinator to say, all right, let's take this away from Ballard because we're going to make them do this. That's not the case.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was making the comment to our offense coordinator during spring ball, like, there's 7 kids who, and really 8 kids counting, you know, Pee Wee Irvin, Isaac Rodriguez are quarterbacks. Like, there's 8 kids who I feel more than comfortable with the ball in their hands that can make a play.
Right.
And, I mean, so, you know, we're going to do some different things offensively. We're going to move guys around, you know, try to, you know, hide some people. But, you know, we got explosive, you know, should be explosive offense. But, again, you know, it's one of those things like that's where the pressure of what, you know,
that's right.
We got to handle it. We got to do it. And then defensively, I mean, I think the last 2 years we've done a great job defensively, really building a brand. And even prior to that, I think when people play Ballard in the past, it's been like defense. I mean, my first year here, I used to love when we were on the field because it was so exciting. And because you never knew defensively what we were going to do. I think we scored in every game defensively that year, and it was just awesome. And like, so this year defensively, I mean, we got Amari Atkinson inside, who's going to be 3-year starter inside. We got our DBs, David Colley. We got Connor Johnson will be playing some corner as well. Jamison Smith, Swift, and then on the D line, Brandon Coleman's going to kind of anchor our line. Jameer Cato down there.
And one thing about Ballard is you've never lacked for athletes.
No, I mean, and there's plenty of them.
There's plenty of athletes in this building, that's for sure.
No, there's plenty of them, and it's just it's making us all kind of row the same way and get on board with everything that we do, academically, athletically, behaviorally, everything.
Nice, I love it, man. You got some dudes out here. Man.
He's got some dudes.
Got some dudes. What was my next question? The staff. Or you're completely staffed up.
Yeah, I mean, most of everybody stayed from last year. And that's going to be nice for the kids to transition. They don't have to learn a bunch of new people. We brought in 4 new people to the staff. We were a little bit understaffed last year. And so, we had 4 defensive coaches last year. And so now we got 5, 6. Yeah, we got 5. And then offensively, because I'll be kind of back and forth, but I'll be focusing on the offensive side this year.
You must have a really good defense corner for you to just turn that over.
Yeah, well, I mean, the good thing.
I know deep down inside you're a defensive guy.
Yeah, I mean, and Coach Barry, he's our D-line coach. Yeah. He's going to be the defensive coordinator. But the great thing, like even last year, I mean, I was the defensive coordinator by title. But in our meetings, like, I've made the comment before to Coach Morton, like, I thought staff-wise, as far as everybody adding in, really positive stuff, and then things that you could use, like the defensive staff was as good as I've ever been on. No one just sat there and, like, when someone talked, you listened, we talked about it, and we formulated the game plan. It wasn't one person formulating the game plan. And so that's where, like, there's a lot of experience on the defensive side. It's the same stuff we've been doing. And so, like, they know it, and it's where it's easy to.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
There you go, man. And shout some of those guys out, man, so you can show them some love a little bit.
Coach Barry, Coach Matt, Coach Jack. We got Coach Thompson, who used to play here. I think he graduated 2021. I don't know. And then Coach Sevenish, that's the defensive side. Offensive side, Coach Lex, Coach Estes, Coach Lander, Coach Rodriguez, Coach Hickman, Coach Foster.
I forgot about Coach Estes. That's my guy.
Yeah, Coach Estes.
We used to work together.
Yeah. He was just out in the weight room. I don't know if he's still out there.
What's his role this year?
Offensive line and, like, blocking backs.
Okay.
Okay.
Jimmy. Shout out Jimmy. That's my guy.
There you go, man. Phenomenal podcast, man. I appreciate you. This is what it is trying to get your, the Ballard community get to know you on a personal level, man. Family guy.
Yeah.
Just a good dude, man.
Yeah, it's always good talking to him.
Yeah. Great catching up with you guys, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but if you ever need anything for us to do, come out, spotlight some more of your guys.
We'd love to come out.
During summer, and just do all that.
Yeah, man. When we get the full boat here as far as kids, today, one of those things, obviously rain and had to cancel workouts outside. So I appreciate you guys coming and, adjusting to the inside. I know the room can be stuffy sometimes, but there's some good stuff that gets done in this room.
Exactly.
I promise you that. But no, I appreciate what you guys do. And, this is good. Showcasing, highlighting kids is always kind of what we're about. So.
Yeah. And one, I only have one last question, man. Yeah. And it's like last season, you know what I mean? Every season you learn something about yourself. You know what I mean? What did you learn about yourself last season?
Last season, I guess being able to, even though the title was DC, and it's not like it was, but just being like, hey, let's do this all together. And I think that was really important because the more that you can do that within your coaching staff, and so going back to, hey, head coaches, do this, like, you got to understand that you have your idea, but all because, I guess, rank, you're the highest, doesn't mean it's the best idea, doesn't mean it's not what's best for your team. And there are times your idea is not going to be the best. And so listen to your coaches. They watch film too. They do just as much as you do. And so for me, it was, I mean, at other places I've been, it's been so understaffed that it's like you have to do everything. And it is a difference and it's hard to let go. But when you let go, it freed me up to do more of analytic and formation-based stuff that I wouldn't have been able to do if I had to worry about the other things. And so sometimes you just have to understand that, like, trust your guys, they'll do it. And then, again, they'll free you up and ultimately be better for the team. So
Yeah. Phenomenal episode. You got any questions?
No, I mean, it's hard to let go because ultimately it's your fault.
no doubt. Yeah.
You can let go all you want, but it's still your fault.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Dakota, come in here, man. Come in here real quick. We have Dakota. He just started, Dakota Waldridge. He is on the podcast. He's doing our creative design, man. But welcome officially to the podcast, man.
Hey, I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I get to be with this first episode because I've got a lot of faith in you all this year. I'm from around the Spencer County area, so I kind of knew a little bit about you all and everything growing up. And what y'all did out there was just amazing. And I know what you're doing here at Ballard. Oh, it's going to be second to none. Like, I keep looking up to that sign that says family first, last, and always. And I'm like, I can feel it here that y'all are building that, like, family that's going to, go through the weeks of roughness from week one all the way to the final and then get over that hump like you've been bringing up. So I'm happy and excited to see what Ballard football is doing because, hey, it's unique here. I'm telling you, it's unique. It's something to watch.
Yeah, you got any questions?
Not right now. Y'all basically answered all of them.
There you go.
He answered.
That's why we're
I appreciate the kind of words, and it is something that we stress no matter where we've ever been. But I mean, like, to the point, like, this brand was built, and our job is, as we transition, is to continue to build the brand and progress it in the positive ascension that it's going. But, like, completely different circumstance than taking over Ballard versus Bullitt Central. And that's no knock on anybody at Bullitt Central, but it's the reality. It's in a different time of a program versus where we were down there. So, yeah.
Phenomenal episode, man. I appreciate you. Like you say, if we can ever do anything for you, just holler at us. Hey, text this guy, DM me, do whatever you got to do to get us back out here. But yeah,
Likewise.
Great episode.
Yeah.
great
It's
episode.
always good seeing this guy.
Yeah,
We went round and round, but he's one of the good ones.
Okay, like we always say, everyone has a story.
We're here for them to tell it.
Cleats to Whistle podcast.